What's good, everybody? Welcome to another broadcast here for Fast Break here for iSports Radio, Unity for Sports. On tonight's show is D-Locke. Morant drama once again. It's been a one game. We'll be back tomorrow night against the Raptors. What's your quick thoughts on Morant getting suspended?
Well, I did see that post, that conversation after the game. It looked like there's a lot of turmoil in Memphis between John Morant. And the coach is there as well. So we'll see how this shakes out. Obviously, he missed a nice game against, I think, the Raptors. But he'll be back tomorrow. But it's very interesting to see how that shakes out.
You got John Morant drama, and then also down to Big Easy with the Saints 1-8 and the Pelicans winless. Willie Green's on the hot seat. We'll discuss that and much more on the show here tonight. Plus, scores and news around the NBA landscape. But this is Fast Break here for iSports Radio, Unity for Sports, and we'll catch you on the other side after these messages.
Hi, eSports Radio fans. This show is brought to you by Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm, single-A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all-brisket jerky has gluten-free options, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, is low in sugar, and high in protein. Go to their website at planetjerky.net and follow them on Instagram at Planet Jerky. Planet Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet.
Rise and shine. It's 4 a.m. The stars are still out. The sun is beneath the horizon, but it's time to punch in and go to work. The comfort of your warm-ups turns into the grinding out of your reps as the clinking and the clanking of the plates create a symphony of euphoria. There's no other feeling like it. Earn it, burn it, and take what's yours. iSports Radio has proudly partnered with Vital Apparel, a brand that not only fits great, but also promotes and donates to mental health research. Use our code IESR to get 15% off their comfortable and inspiring gym wear and help them on their amazing journey to support mental health. Go hard, take part in your iron therapy, and be strong. Because when your mental health is as strong as you are, there's no telling how far you'll go.
And welcome back to the broadcast here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in with us here tonight on this first Sunday of November. And the time has moved back a little bit. So you catch that extra hour of sleep if y'all one of those folks that value that. But we're in the month of November now, D-Locke. We're kind of somewhat, I don't say, moving into the NBA season, so we kind of get things figured out so far. Thus far in the season, a lot of great scoring going on, a lot of contenders kind of really popping up early and so forth. But one name that's kind of coming up once again that we kind of hope we ascended to this point that we should have been talking in the same breath as SGA, Luka, Devin Booker, Victor Wembanyama. It's one John Morant. John Morant, once again, D-Locke, you sent me this while I was out there trick-or-treating with my little girl. And you sent me this press conference, all this stuff, and he was just mad, how he played, mad at the coaches. And this stemmed from the from the loss from the Lakers this past Friday on October 31st. Now, for y'all, some of y'all don't know, Luka came back in this game. 44 points for him, 12 rebounds, 6 assists in his return. Another 40-point game for him. 21 points for Austin Reeves in this matchup. 13 for Jake LaVeria off the bench for the Lakers. For the Grizzlies side of things, I think this is the main both position, D-Lock. 30 minutes for John Morant, 8 points, 7 assists. With Jake Laudale and Wells leading the way for the Grizzlies, 60 points apiece. D-Lock, he was suspended one game for the contact detrimental to the team after the loss to the Lakers. After he went on his post-game rant, saying, go ask the coaching staff when asked by his minutes and energy. D-Lock, your thoughts on Morant's play against the Lakers, and then his comments post-game about his play against the Lakers?
Well, I think that for one, the play just was not there. Like he just, we all know, we watch a lot of games. We pay attention to a lot of them, and sometimes players have bad games. Sometimes it just isn't clicking, or some different thing that they have on their mind, whatever the case may be. But pulling up that box score real quick, 31 minutes, 8 points. Now, one thing that we know is this Memphis team goal is John Morant takes them. They have a lot of solid players there. Jaren Jackson, they just signed KCP, I think, for defense a little bit. Obviously losing Desmond Bane, but to me, the play he just was off. It just seemed like it was definitely off. But the biggest thing that played a part also is what's going on with him and the coaches. What they're not on the same page. And as we know, I think we talked about it before, it was him, and I'm pulling up the Grizzlies roster now. It was him and Zion that came out the same year. We thought that was a hell of a draft class. But these two right now are the ones that have different things going on. You know what I mean? You talk about Luka, all these other players, that SGA, we put Zion and John Morant in that class with those guys. We were expecting them to be in that category. And right now, that's the complete opposite. So again, I think the post-conference talk, clearly they had some kind of conversation where he wasn't playing good, and he probably challenged his leadership. But this is not going to work if him and the coach can't get on the same page. We've all remember what happened with him last year. Obviously the gun incident, different things like that. He has to be on the same page with the head coach, or vice versa. They both got to be together. They got to work. So right now, them losing Desmond Bain, I think, and Tyus Jones. I mean, they're leaning on what Cam Spencer started tonight. Jared Jackson, who we know can be inconsistent from time to time. So this team is not going to go that far, if these two, head coach and jock, cannot get on the same page. Remember that famous interview he did where he said he wasn't worried about anybody in the West. He said he think he's fine in the West. I've seen multiple people talk about that now. So that's something that's never going to go anywhere. And rightfully so. But now you're looking at a situation where you're looking at everything that is happening with them. So I think the play could be better. But also I think it has to do with the coaching as well. I think they both got to be on the same page. And clearly right now they're not.
I didn't watch it. I caught the highlights because I was out trick or treating and all that good stuff. So, and then I ain't know Luka was playing, so I look at my ESPN fantasy stuff and I'm like, damn. Thank you for the notification that he's playing. But anyways, like he came back, Lucas, and the Lakers were down big at halftime. Let's not forget about that. I mean, they were down big at halftime. And it's just like, yeah, y'all didn't play well, but damn, y'all are up big against the Lakers like this. In Lucas' return, he come back and turn on the Jets in the second half to kind of beat y'all's ass. Says a lot about y'all. And then you sent me the thing about the post conference and stuff like that. Like the vibe and energy is just off. Like when that man got drafted to Memphis, out down there say it's like the city and his personality in a sense matched. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, he's not from Memphis, but you get the vibe. Like once he kind of vibes with the city and whatnot. Kind of like when Zebo got there, he vibed and grew with the city. And I think John Morant does vibe and grow with the city, but I think him and the team are kind of going this way here. That's where we at right now with him and the Grizzlies. And I kind of told y'all, in text, them keeping that coach Tomas around, I put this right here. He responded saying the organization made a decision that aligns with our standards. Keeping Coach Tomas around, to me, I think, you didn't really change, I think, the coaching and whatnot, in a sense. And you didn't change the culture, in a sense. And I've seen things, people saying that he's more direct and all that stuff and blah, 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 blah. But you still got the same staff and all that and crew there, mostly with Coach Tomas under now running the show. So I was thinking, like, you just kind of move the deck chairs a little bit, and John Morant's still upset and all that stuff. Now, I'm not saying, you can't call out John Morant and call his play and whatnot, but I just think you're kind of still stagnant with this staff that you still got in holding Memphis. And Memphis been kind of real good about doing this the past few years, firing the coach and keeping somebody in staff to take over. And then they fire that person, and then, it repeats itself. So, to me, spending him one game, not the worst thing in the world, but, there could be bigger things awry that we might not be knowing about with this coach and John Morant. But I'll say put a bow on it, but I was saying like this. if he comes out playing next game tomorrow, I think they play the Pistons, I believe. Yes, the Pistons at home, who got a big win against Dallas down in Mexico City. But if you come in and play well against the Pistons, then I think things can heal. But the way the Pistons have been playing, you know, and how strong they are defensively, and Memphis now like, you know, the best shooting team in the world, you know, that could spell things to go bad. Kay Cunningham's a big guard. How you gonna contain that?
Mm-hmm.
You know, Detroit can match you defensively down low with Isaiah Stewart and Jalen Duren, who played very well against the Mavs. And on a side note about the Pistons, real quick, D-Log. Isaiah Stewart, dog, I appreciate you trying to step out your game, but no more three-pointers, please. Dog, I was watching that Dallas game. I was like, why is this dude shooting three-pointers like this?
Mm-hmm.
Like, stop. Even Jalen Duren don't do that. Well, why are you doing it? But I want to ask you this. And a lot of people speculating, some people putting fantasy scenarios out there where certain teams.
Mm-hmm.
What's your thought process of if things don't doesn't go well and things get worse? Do they try to trade Ja Morant? Your thoughts on that and that speculation right now?
I mean, I think if we look back, probably when these two got drafted, Ja Morant and Zion, we were not thinking about these guys leaving their organization.
No, we really didn't.
But now, that's a huge possibility for both. So for me, I think if this situation does kind of not work, they have to explore it, see what they can get. But to be honest with you, I think he probably need to. In my opinion, I think he should. He's so talented that I'm probably still looking to replace his coach again before I decide to trade Ja Morant. Yeah. I mean, organizations, you know, once you find that player that could change your franchise or is that with such talent as he has, it's hard to move on from somebody like that because you may not find it again for another 5-10 years or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So at first I would try to figure out, okay, what it is. Let's see if you guys can get on the same page. If not, then I'm not saying that he has all that power to where, hey, look, we're going to pick whatever coach you tell us to hire. But I just think that the talent that he has is something that it'd be hard to move on from because, you know, if you do move him, first of all, what are you getting for him? And who, like, I mean, we know what the draft's gonna look like every year, different things, but I think he's established in the NBA. You know, he's established as a potential consistent all-star. You know, so you move on from this guy, you're gonna have to replace him. Now, even if you do that, hell, the coach can get fired if they're not playing well anyway. And like I said, we already know what it is with Jaren Jackson. Jaren Jackson plays good one day and don't see him again for another 2 months. So for me, it is considerable. Like I said, they can't get it on the same page. But now, obviously, I think the biggest thing too is his dedication to winning. You know, his dedication to being the basketball player that we can see him being. You know, for a long term. That's what we love about the guys that we've seen over years. Vince Carter, Allen Iverson, Kobe, all these guys, they were dedicated to being the best, you know. So you get that from Ja Morant. So again, it'll be hard to move on from him, but it's definitely something that can be considered, being the fact that if they can't get on the same page, I mean, you don't want somebody in your locker room that's going to bring bad energy, because then now y'all all going to be out. So it'll be a tough call. But again, this is the same thing we said about Zion. You know what I mean? Like, we didn't think that no way the Pelicans are going to be moving this guy. This team is going to be consistently good in the West for a while, and they don't look good at all either. So, do you consider trading them? Possibly, but I think, like I said, I would look at possibly changing coaches prior to before I consider trading my All-Star, potential All-Star.
Yeah, I thought some people trying to fantasy like him going to Minnesota. But I went to Spark back trying to like do the NBA trade machine, man. I was like, Minnesota had to give up a lot of salary just kind of trying to match it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I tried like Mike Conley, one of the young guards, and a couple of guys. It's just, like, I'm looking like it's a lot to do to try to just get Ja Morant if you're Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think that's gonna work. Even though it could, I mean, that backcourt and Ja, could work, but you had to give up a lot of pieces to make it work.
Right.
Now you could throw Rudy Gobert in there. I didn't get deep into it, but you can throw Rudy Gobert in there to make the salaries work. Maybe if you're, and also the Memphis side of things, maybe give up Zach Edey because he's still on his rookie contract, and you got that right there. You're not really losing a big man in this way, and you get the salary back. And then with Memphis, Mike Conley come back to the fold to kind of be a stabilizer in a sense, but also, Rudy Gobert would help out more defensively more than Jaren Jackson. If we're going to be real about that. So I said, Minnesota had to give up a lot, including a first-round pick.
Mm-hmm.
Then some people said Milwaukee. I don't see that working. I don't see that fit right there. And Milwaukee had to give up a whole bunch for Ja Morant as well. And then some folks brought up Miami. I saw this the other day. Libertar and Crew on YouTube. I think, they talk the Miami local scene very good. And they brought up, say, hey, why are we still doing Tower Hero? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Why are we still thinking, this guy could still be a face of the franchise, stuff like that? And I saw that saying, yeah, I can see that. Miami might be a good place for Ja Morant. New coach, new structure, a new place to live at. Miami, him and pick a roll with Bam Adebayo. A better two-way player than Jaren Jackson, in my opinion. Wherever he gets healthy, Tyler Hero, throwing a couple other guys in there to make salaries work. First-round pick. Get back Ja Morant and maybe like another young piece from there. Hey, I think something that Pat Riley might look into.
Mm-hmm.
And Pat Riley, and if we talk about on the show here the past couple of years, Pat Riley trying to angle for somebody for the past couple of years. He struck out on Dame. Struck out on Joel Embiid. I feel like I'm missing somebody else in that mix. Giannis. Mm-hmm. So a lot of guys that he's trying to get past couple years to go along with Bam Adebayo and Tyler Hero, but I think he needs to get off the Tyler Hero train and do a trade with him to get somebody in that he wants. Now, John Morant might be somebody he don't want, but I think, a change there at the top of the point guard position will do a good work for them. And then you're a new conference. You look at that Southeast Division, Washington, rebuild. Charlotte, finding a way. They ain't been playing bad. Your Orlando Magic, I think the top of the division. And then Atlanta Hawks. Trae Young's going to be out for the next 6 weeks. Porzingis still doing his illness, wherever that is.
Mm-hmm.
So you can get things right. Him, Norman Powell, Bam Adebayo. That's a nice little trio there for Miami. Your thoughts on that?
I mean, Miami, like I said, we know what Miami is capable of and how they usually put their roster together. They want to have that culture. You know what I mean? Pat Riley doesn't play that. He has always had competitive teams. But can Ja act correct in Miami? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you are talking about where, even though Memphis is where he is now, I don't think Miami, it helps anything going there. You know what I mean? So to me, could he, be a Miami Heat? Can he fit into that culture? And we know how Pat Riley puts his team together. So that'd be a hell of a trio. You know what I mean? If you put a nice little team together, and now he's in the East. So for me, would be a bad idea. I just think that, what is Memphis gonna get back? What are they okay with? You know what I mean? Are they okay with getting the pieces back? Because now, in a sense, you do have your bigs are fine. You got Aldama, you got Jared Jackson, but they're lacking the guard position. Moving on from Ja, they do. So, and do they kind of fade back a little bit in the West? Because again, the Spurs are literally a totally different team.
Mm-hmm.
Right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're looking at what they're doing, and being undefeated and victor, like we talked about before, is candidate for being MVP. Like, the West is a hell of a lot more competitive. It's being more competitive, as much as it already is. We're just seeing what these teams in the West are gonna do. So can Memphis make a trade and be competitive, or are they back in that rebuild mode? And that's the biggest, like I said, the biggest thing. But Ja and Miami would be a hell of a connection, especially having Bam. I think that'll definitely put them as a top team to compete with in the East.
I think that, like I said, we're just floating ideas out here. And I might post something on our Twitter page here later on, kind of like, go to the train machine, make sure I get all my stuff correct, money match and all that good stuff. But, just look at the standings right now in the West. OKC, 7-0, beat the Pelicans last night, who are 0-6. We'll talk about here momentarily. Spurs, 5-0, beat the Wembanyama, looking like a true MVP candidate along with SGA. The Portland Trailblazers, 4-2. Despite Chauncey Billups, I'm still disappointed in Chauncey. Chauncey Billups being away from the team, they're 4-2. Thiago Splitter is keeping things going right now. The Lakers, 4-2 right now. We're looking back in the fold and things. And tonight they played the said Miami Heat we just discussed about. The Clippers, 3-2. Nuggets are 3-2. Houston, 3-2 as well at the 7th seed, and Golden State Warriors are 4-3 at the 8th seed. Now, after Golden State, D-Lock, you got Memphis at 3-3, Minnesota at 3-3 at 10, and after that, you got Utah, Phoenix, Sacramento, Dallas at 2-4, and then the New Orleans Pelicans at 0-6. So early in the season, we're 7 games in. They're 3-3. Not the worst spot to be in right now. But, in a month's time, could we talk about like a different whole ranking in the standings?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Could Dallas turn things around? I know Anthony Davis didn't play last game, but once he get back, how they going to look when he comes back? How further Cooper Flag matures in his play. Can Phoenix figure out, their rotations and stuff like that and big man issues as well? And then some of these teams that are lacking a point guard, do they find point guard help and then they propel their play up higher than, their potential higher than, where they had before? Looking at you, Houston. But to put a bow on John Morant and stuff like this, D-Lock, we'll see how this month plays out. Like I said, he comes back tomorrow. They're 3-3.
Mm-hmm.
We'll just see how things come about. But if there's more deception and stuff like this, then they probably start, feel the calls, here in a little while. I'll let you have last word.
I mean, I just like you said, I think that post conference that told you a lot. I mean, I think if you had enough time to continue asking more questions, more would have been said.
Mm-hmm.
So just it's giving me pointing the finger at each other. You know what I mean? Hey, go ask. They got to do this, or this is what the coach said. Go ask them a question, this, that, and the third, or better than not play me. Like, that's starting to give me the vibes of asking for a trade himself. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that's something that we got to really remember as well and think about is, does John literally say, "Hey, look, I'm trying to get up out of here." You know what I mean? So to me, and the West is not easy. Like I said, these teams are getting better. So we got to see this how this is going to transpire. Because again, another game they lose, which they will eventually, they're not going to go undefeated the rest of the season. They're gonna ask Josh more questions. You know what I mean?
Yep.
There's gonna be different things that hey, you said this against the Lakers. How do you feel now? You know what I mean? Has there been a change after your suspension? So different questions are going to be asked. And we know that's what writers do. They want to get, in front of things before anybody else, and they can take what you said and spin it all type of ways. So, we got to prepare and know that. But for me, like you said, I think hopefully it kind of can get back on track. But if we start to see the spiral, go for the bad, I wouldn't be surprised to see a change somewhere.
Yeah, like I said, we'll keep an eye on this and see what happens with that front of things, all that. But kind of saying on the West, real quick, D-Lock, I did bring this up to you beforehand. Willie Green on the hot seat. Ladies and gentlemen, Willie Green is the head coach of the New Orleans Pelicans, has been for the past several years. And it's really hard to describe his tenure with the Pelicans so far. It's been up and down, to say the least. Yeah, there's some positives and there's some negatives. But a lot of negatives kind of weighs on one certain player, and that's Zion Williamson. There's at one point when Zion was healthy, everybody was healthy, along with Brandon Ingram, guys like that. They were at the top of the West at one point a couple years ago, before Christmas. After that, Zion gets hurt. Guys going out. It just seemed like things could fall to the bottom. D-Locke, the Pelicans off to a 0-5 start. They called it beat down yesterday against the undefeated OKC Thunder.
Mm-hmm.
The players, they are reportedly frustrated with Green's. Let me get that right here. Hold on. Put that up. There we go. Players are reportedly frustrated with Green's rotations out and lack of adjustments. Let me ask you this. We've been talking about Willie Green for a couple of years. Joe Dumars is in the front office now. Where do you sense how long they keep this going with Willie Green, and he'll be the fall guy for the team's struggles for the past few years? What's your take on how much more longer he got as the head coach of the Pelicans?
Again, we started talking about Ja Morant, and it transpired to Zion in New Orleans and the Pelican situation. I think that his tenure might be shorter than we want to believe. This is the reason why I said when talk about trading Ja Morant, more than likely before they trade the player, they're going to move the coach. And in the situation now with Zion, I mean, Zion is not playing well. He has different things going on. Remember the whole off the court issue that he had. They're not, we talked about them possibly moving on from Zion, and that seems like that is not happening. So somebody's got to take the fall, or somebody's got to be replaced. So to me, I definitely think that Willie Green is going to be a person that is going to be possibly moved before we know it. Because right now, I mean, the Pelicans just have not been playing well, and Zion has not hit his potential. It's just the fact that he's not doing the things that he should be doing, or he should be, being consistent with. He's not done that. They moved pieces all around this guy. Brandon Ingram was there at one point. Jordan Poole is there now. Who else? McCollum is there right now too, correct?
Come on, CJ?
Yep.
No, CJ got traded to
Washington. That's right.
Washington for Jordan Poole.
Yeah, that's right. He's in Washington. DeJounte Murray. They have all these multiple guys that have been there, and it has not worked. So again, I think that right now, that's probably going to be something really considered, depending on how the rest of the season goes. This team doesn't look good at all. They don't. So how do they set this up? What happens is a good question. We'll see. Because we talk about the Spurs going to get Victor, and look how quick of a turnaround that the Spurs look like. You know what I mean? So they see what Victor is growing into and what he has done for the Spurs and what he continues to do. But Zion, on the other hand, has not. He's had a few good games here or there, over his career so far. So to me, the person that they're possibly going to move on from first is the coach. So Willie Green definitely is possibly going to be out the door soon before we know it.
I feel like Willie Green has been dealt a bad hand ever since he got this job. A lot of his dependency lies on Zion and whatnot. But also, even without, just take that out the way. He had guys like Brandon Ingram, but then Brandon Ingram has missed a ton of games as a Pelican. when he was a Pelican. CJ McCollum, same thing. Missed a lot of games as a Pelican as well. You know, you had Deontay Murray at one point. I think he's still there. I think he's just hurt. Let me just double check that. I say these things. Yeah. Deontay Murray, you got him there. He's hurt as well. There's like a lot of snake bitten things that's happened with this franchise. You know, post Anthony Davis era. And, you know, they had some success, but it's just like a lot of ifs and buts. But, you know, you kind of will give Willie Green some grace. But on the flip side, though, they've been in the lottery and stuff like that for the past few years that you had a lot of young influx of talent coming in that somewhat you had to develop some of these guys to kind of help carry the burden when these other guys went out and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like look at the last box score for the Pelicans against the Thunder. Young guys like Jordan Hawkins, Micah Peavy, Derek Queen, your first round pick. Those guys only played 6 minutes against the Pelicans. 6 minutes. All those guys apiece. Zion Williamson, who still seems to be like on a pitch count in playing minutes, he only played 28 minutes. But I'm looking like those young guys are calling out. It's like a lot of young guys that come through this franchise the past few years through the draft, yet they still haven't really contributed like they should have for your team. And you're still trying to get these other veterans in to help compensate that because you really haven't developed those young guys like you should.
Mm-hmm.
There shouldn't be no reason for having Jordan Poole on this squad right now. Jordan Hawkins should be getting that playing time as a contributor. Or at least starting. You know, I'm not saying you have Kevon Looney, but you know, Kevon Looney, I mean, but Derek Queen should be getting those minutes, getting that development there.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying, you know, I'm not trying to give let Willie Green out the hook and stuff like that, but your development of the young guys is very telling.
Oh yes.
Like and with guys like Ingram and McCollum, even Herb Jones missing time, when all those guys who missing time, stuff like that, those young guys should have been like progressing along way better. And then like you're to this point right now that those young guys should be heavy contributors for your team. We should not be talking the Pelicans at 0-6 right now.
Nah.
Like they like the Pacers finally got off the skid. But I think the Pacers, let's be honest, better coached team and better built team. And they're doing a lot of injuries right now, especially at the guard position. But they still fight and persevere and all that stuff, all that good stuff, and they beat the Warriors for their first win.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, do Joe Dumars make a move? I don't know. We'll see how the rest of this month play out. But if they don't play well and whatnot, you may make a change just to make a change. I hate to say that about Willie Green. It sucks that, you know, you have to give him the bad hand there in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, you know, a change is possible.
Yeah, I think definitely. I mean, like you said, the development of these athletes, these ball players is not there. like I said, you got the number 1 pick in Zion, who has not hit that potential what he can be. Now that's not all on Willie Green, but part of and me now, I played both roles at one point. I was that athlete, and now I'm a coach. And what happens is now, as an athlete, I had to do my part. I had to be dedicated, had to handle my part, had to do, hey, listen, sometimes where I wanted to go out on the weekends with my friends, I couldn't do that. I had to sacrifice those things to be the best athlete that I can be. So I played my part so I can look good. Not only I look good, but also it makes the coach look like he's doing his job as well. And it made it easier for him to do his job. So he has to answer to his boss, whoever, hey, Locke is good. Now on the coaching end, I got to make sure that I hold my athletes accountable, but also stay on them about the things they need to do. So when it comes to the development part, that's the part of a coach that I have to do now. And like I said, as much as what Zion has going on off the court and these different things, this is stuff that a coach should not let happen. This is where that discipline part comes in. You know what I mean? Hey, listen, you got all this other crap going on off the court. We don't need that. Hey, listen, you got this whole relationship situation going on. Hey, look, you walk up in this building, we don't need that distraction. You know what I mean? For somebody with so much potential. And that's what it is. When you have that front office, that's what they're looking at. Okay, Zion, Quinn, all these people are here, but they're not developing. Why is that? Yes, they play a part, but I hired this coach to make sure that he keeps these guys keep these guys right where they need to be, and keep them disciplined. This is why we loved Nick Saban so much, and I'm pretty sure you as a Bama fan love Saban so much, because he had his guys in order. They had one specific way that they moved. There was literally a time where every time we seen a linebacker get drafted, you would think every linebacker was literally the same exact linebacker that Nick Saban wanted. Running backs as well. So it's the coaching part that plays a huge role, and that's why, at this point, Willie Green could possibly be moved on from, because that development isn't there. So when you do have these young athletes, they got to be able to walk a specific way, but it's also in the direction of what the head coach does. So, and like you said, as much as he was dealt that a bad hand, sometimes you got to be able to, hey, listen, you the one that's in control. I need this, that, and the third, such and such, because at the end of the day, the front office is going to be like, oh, damn, okay, what's the issue? You have these this young core. What's the problem? I can't just blame it on the athletes. I hired you, the coach, specifically to, handle business, and it's not getting done. So what happens? They're going to replace you. And they're going to want to bring somebody else in that can ride the ship, and have them, we see it all the time. It's just now, as much as we see Willie Green in this situation with Zion, it's just like, dang, like, hey, somebody got to go. And it's not going to be Zion right now.
Before we go to our first break, looking at Willie Green's coaching record, his first year, 36-46, third in the Southwest. Second year, 42-40, second in the Southwest. His best year thus far, 49-33, and that's 23-24 season, second in the Southwest. I think that's when they had the great start to the season, top of the West, all that good stuff. Then last year, 21-61, Zion out. And we talked about it when we did the podcast format, like the sex stuff started coming out, all that, the weight issues, the injuries, all that stuff. Traded Brandon Ingram away to Toronto, all that good stuff, and that's probably his worst record there. But like, you look at the record, it's like it ain't the worst, but could it be better? And that's the thing. Like, could it be better? I think the thing that Joe Dumars is going to look at and evaluate everything here. But, from Morant's message and Green's gamble are more than headlines. They're a warning shot for every team banking on chemistry over clarity. And that's what we're looking at right now. So we'll keep an eye on those situations, and we'll see what happens in the coming month. A lot of changes in the NBA. No dominoes has fallen yet. So we'll see what happens on those side of things right there. But after the break, real quick, ladies and gentlemen, on the other side of things, the NBA Cup has started. We'll discuss that and scores and news around the league. But this is Fast Break here, Fire Sports Radio, your dream for sports. We'll catch you on the other side.
For the last 10 years, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, and other authorized media personnel to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. Make sure to follow us at IE Sports Radio on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube to keep up with the latest in sports and with all of our shows. Also, make sure to check out our daily updated website at iesportsradio.com. At iesportsradio.com, you can see our daily show schedule and check out all of our show pages with personal bios to learn a little bit more about each of our awesome hosts. In addition to our show pages, you can catch the iSports Radio blog, Hall of Fame, Fans of the Month page, and our merchandise shop, including t-shirts, tank tops, caps, long sleeves, hoodies, and more. For now over a decade here at IE Sports Radio, we've continued to be by the fans, for the fans, and we thank you all for your support and for making IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports.
And welcome back to the broadcast here for Fast Break for IE Sports Radio, your dream for sports. We talked about Joe Dumars in a sense, but Willie Green, John Morant, we talked about that, their struggles and whatnot. But let's come back and talk about some scores going on around the league right now. And then get that typed up real quick. Let's see. NBA score. Damn it. Add it up. We'll talk about some NBA scores right now around the league right now. Right now, D-Locke, 2 undefeated teams are on the ropes right now. The Spurs down 68-52 at halftime against the Phoenix Suns. Victor Wembanyama only has 2 points this far. And 3 fouls, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 turnovers for Victor so far. But Dylan Harper, 12 points off the bench for him. Keldon Johnson, 11 points for him as well to help lead the way for the Spurs. For the Phoenix side of things, D-Lock, Booker, 12 points, 9 assists. Ryan Dunn, 12 points for him, who's been playing that small ball big for the Suns for the most part. Mark Williams, who's been getting started at center, 3 rebounds for him thus far. Nick Richards off the bench for Phoenix, 10 points for him. D-Lock, looking at this game right here, do the Spurs make a comeback and stay undefeated in your eyes against the Phoenix Suns?
I mean, we know for them to get started, I think Devin Vassell and Victor Wembanyama got to get going. I mean, they're down by 18. Looks like Victor's been in foul trouble. I think, I actually didn't think that was going to happen. I thought he was going to tear Mark Williams up, man. I thought he was going to have a game. He was going to, do whatever he wants against dude. But apparently, that's not the case. Right now, Devin Booker is also on the heater. That I think they've been having very good games so far. I think the Spurs are going to make a good push. I just don't see them come back and win this game. With the Suns having already 70 at half, I think that they're, like I said, they putting up 70 in the first half is good numbers. I seen it earlier with who was it? Charlotte had 70 something points in the first half against Utah. So right now, I think you're having, like I said, Devin Booker is definitely on the heater right now. Mark Williams is giving Victor some problems, which is a shocker. Richards is coming off the bench with 10 points. He's out here doing a little bit. And another person that's been playing pretty good with them is Gillespie. He's been playing very extremely well with them. I believe they played Utah 2 times already. The last 2 times they played, one of them went to overtime, and Gillespie's been consistent on both ends when he get a chance to play. So I think the Spurs do come back and make a run, but the Suns right now, man, they're actually playing pretty good right at this moment. I think that they they be consistent like this. This team is, trying to spoil the Spurs undefeated season. But the Spurs has been playing well all season. It's just I think this is one of them games where we see that if you contain Victor, what they rely on the rest of these Spurs to get there. Now they got the guys, Devin Vassell and Castle. I think they should be solid, but and Harper. But right now they can't do too much with the Suns right now. So I definitely think that they're gonna take their first loss.
Let's see, they down by 18. Victor only got 2 points. I don't know. If Victor gets rolling and get those big men in trouble with Mark Williams and Nick Richards, I think, it'll go a long way. But I think for the Suns to clip them in a sense, Devin Booker he's got to stay rolling. 2 for 2 for 3-point land. Perfect from the free throw line. Done. Perfect from the field so far. So that's a real positive for Phoenix. I think if he keeps that up, I think, which I think he will, but if he keeps that up for Phoenix, I think that'll go a long way for them for winning the game. But I think if those big men, Mark Williams and Nick Richards, strong play and kind of keep Victor Wembanyama in foul trouble and neutralize them, use their big bodies, and just keep out his focus out the game, I think Phoenix can clinch them. But if Victor gets rolling, getting a high pick and roll scenarios, and taking those guys out the dribble and stuff like that, and slowing the game down and get them in foul trouble, then we smelling doom and gloom for the Phoenix Suns, who probably need like a big win like this anyways to kind of find some momentum from themselves right now. I mean, I know right now they don't got Jalen Green and Dylan Brooks at the moment, but I think getting this win without those guys would be a big momentum builder for them moving forward throughout the season. But I think Victor will at least get, I say, come back second half at least. Well, he'll end the night at least about 15 points. So I do think he'll get at least 15.
Yeah.
All said and done.
I think he's gonna get his points. I just think that right now, I think the Suns, like I said, right now, they done jumped out on them. So they could make a move now, but it's gonna be pretty tough to see that happen.
Another team who's surprisingly undefeated early in the season, in which none of us probably would never guess that they were, are the Chicago Bulls. Let's see. Let me get. Oops. Let me get that right. Bam. The Bulls are 5-0. D-Locke. Well, they currently are, but they losing to the Knicks right now. 121-103 in the Garden. They have beaten thus far early in the season the Detroit Pistons the Orlando Magic, the Atlanta Hawks, the Sacramento Kings, and the New York Knicks back on Halloween as well. Right now, they're playing the Knicks. They're down 121 and 103. Josh Giddey, who's been a early triple-double machine right now, has 19 points, 10 rebounds, 11 assists, 4 turnovers, though. Nikola Vucevic has 15 and 13 rebounds. Patrick Williams off the bench, 11 points for him. Kevin Huerter, 7 points for him off the bench. And Jalen Smith, 12 points for him off the bench as well. On the New York side of things, Jalen Brunson, 26 points and 3 assists. That assist total got to get better for Jalen Brunson. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
20 points for and 13 rebounds for Karl-Anthony Towns. And one thing I like seeing that stat line, he's not shooting a lot of three-pointers tonight. 2 for 2 for three-point land for him. Off the bench for the Knicks, 15 points for Jordan Clarkson, 14 points for Josh Hart to help lead the way for the New York Knicks. Were you surprised that the Bulls made it out to 5-0 early this season?
Yeah, I mean, I think that Josh Giddey is playing out of his mind. He had a hell of a game last time he played against. We played against the Knicks. And they playing today. Like I said, I was thinking Brunson, that defense that the Knicks had, was going to put some kind of clamps on Giddey, but he was doing whatever he wanted. So another person is Vooch is playing, pretty decent as well. So for them to come out 5-0 is big time shocking to me. I wonder how long this lasts. Can this team be consistent and be a problem in the East? So right now, obviously it's early, but that's the thing about NBA. You start out hot, you start out good early, it boils and it rolls until later on in 2026, until later on in the season. So the Heat, the Spurs, I think we kind of had a little bit of thought process that they'll probably be a lot better. The Bulls, though, I definitely am shocked by this.
I didn't see this from the Bulls. I was surprised they came out 5-0. I was like, damn. Of all teams, the Bulls coming out 5-0. Now, it looks like they're looking to their first loss against the Knicks, being up 19 right now with 3 minutes left to go in the game. But, that OKC trade they did with Caruso and Giddey seemed like it's working out for both sides.
Mm-hmm.
If you really look at it now, like, how well really Giddey and SGA will play well together. Because both guys need the ball in their hands. Giddey ain't the world's best shooter. SGA can play off the ball, but he needs the ball in his hands.
Right.
And now you kind of look at it now like, damn, this trade worked out well for both teams.
Yeah.
They got rid of Giddey, who was kind of a problem when he got caught up with that underage girl out in California. And then in turn, you get like a guy who don't need the ball that much, defensive minded, can shoot the ball, all that stuff. It worked out perfect for everybody. And he goes to a place in Chicago that needs a point guard because Kobe Bryant is not necessarily a true point guard. Ayo, not really a true point guard either, more of a combo guard. So he put Giddey in and put those 2 guys on the outside. Now you're cooking. Now you can create for those other guys to score and get opportunities, stuff like that. So I think it was a great move for them. I think, did they maybe gave Giddey a max deal just because, a little too early, perhaps. But he's showing early in those returns compared to the other young guys you gave extensions to that he could be a real true play for you down the line. And I think that's the main thing. Now, after this loss, can they maintain things? And what I mean by that, we lose to the Knicks here tonight, but you're not going to lose 4 games after this. You know what I'm saying? You're not who they got next. You're not going to lose to Philly, Milwaukee, Cleveland, and San Antonio your next 4 games. You're not going to lose a streak.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's one thing that Billy Dolphins got to do with this crew. It's like, okay, yeah, we lost against the Knicks here in the Garden, but we got to shape up and play well against, Philly here back at home. In which, who the hell did the schedule anyways?
Mm-hmm.
Like I go to New York, come back home for Philly, then drive up to Milwaukee, then turn around from Milwaukee and go to Cleveland. Like, who does this shit? Anyways. Sorry. But anyways, you come in, you play well against Maxey and Edgecombe in that backcourt. Handle Embiid just enough. Okay, now we're cooking. Now I'm a true believer. So Tuesday against the Sixers, that's a true test for me if this team is serious. It's not. I was like, okay, lose against the Knicks. Can they come in against Edgecombe, Maxey, and Embiid and play well against them?
Yeah. I think Philly played today too. They have Brooklyn.
And let's see. And in that game right there, Philly won 129-105. Kelly Oubre, 29 points to lead away for Philly. Maxey had 26 points. Edgecombe had 16 for him. No Joel Embiid in this game. Paul George still out. Jared McCain still out as well. Eric Gordon did not play. Coach's decision there.
Mm-hmm.
So, which I think we might be seeing the last of Eric Gordon around the league. Quentin Grimes off the bench, 22 points, 13 assists for him. Trenton Walford, 60 points for him off the bench. For the Brooklyn side of things, Cam Thomas, 29 points for him to lead away for the Nets. Michael Porter Jr. had 17 points, 17 rebounds for him as well. So the Nets 0-6, the Pelicans 0-6. But I think with the Nets though, they're in rebuild mode.
Yes.
I think we expected them to be around this level to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll talk about the college basketball season here in a week or so down the line to preview that. But just looking around the expeditions around the league, around the NCAA, excuse me, the Boozer Boys, especially Cameron, looking pretty good right now. So there's other guys, the AJ Dimesta kid out in BYU. You got him. So if you're going to tank this year for a top pick, this is the year to do it.
Yes.
I think there's another kid. I forgot his name. I'll look up here later on. But I think there's like at least 3 kids that you want to tank for and be well positioned for your team. And the Nets so far are doing their part right now.
Yeah, like I said, I think my biggest thing, I remember I told I wanted from the Nets is I wanted to see them give the keys to Cam Thomas.
Mm-hmm.
Him and Michael Porter. I wanted to see what they were going to do. Let them go ahead and, run the show and see what they have with it. So I'm not really like I said, we're not surprised about this. Like I said, they're not trying to win. Well, they want to win, but this is not a team that's playoff worthy. It's not a team that's going to make the playoffs. Like you said, tanking and trying to get that number 1 pick in that rebuild mode would be idle. So this is something that they need to really get involved with. And also, like I said, I think you have your young pieces there. The question is, do do teams look at them to try to possibly make some trades to grab possibly a Claxton? You know what I mean? Does Michael Porter continue to stay there with Cam Thomas? So this team is, like I said, this team is literally, like you said, we know it's in rebuild mode. They're trying to get things right. But we'll see what they do. And if they do get a number one pick and what they do with it.
Young team, potential lot of picks, salary, salary cap maybe in their favor next couple years. So if they hit in this pick, continue to lose the games, stuff like that, I think could go a long way for the Nets in that sense. In the meanwhile, we talked about Memphis earlier. They lost to Toronto Raptors 117-104. 20 points for Jaren Jackson, 9 rebounds for him. Jock Liddell, 14 points for him. Off the bench, 15 points for Adama. And Williams Jr. had 14 points right there. For the Raptors, Barrett had 27. Ingram had 26. Scotty Barnes had 19 points, 12 rebounds, 8 assists in that front. Emmanuel quickly had 9 points there. And Grady Dick, whose minutes kind of just fluctuate, he had 19 minutes and 8 points on that side of things for the Toronto Raptors there. The Hornets, D-Locke, 3-4 so far. A team that you got in the playoff hunt. 29 points from Bridges. Colin Kneppel, 24 points for him.
Cooking.
One of his better games of the year. Zion James, 15 points for him. Shout out to Colin Sexton, 10 points, 12 assists for him. No Ball, he was out with injury. No Brandon Miller, he was out. Trey Mann, 13 points for him, even though Hornets fans really hate his guts because he does stupid shit. And then Masu Biate, 17 points for him off the bench and 12 rebounds also as well. So your team, you were higher than the Hornets than me. Early on, what do you like from the Hornets thus far this season?
I think one thing that I do like about this Hornets team is it's a very young team. Now, obviously, I think the biggest thing that hurt is losing Brandon Miller. That hurt. But Colin Knuckle, he's playing out of his mind recently. He get the chance to go out there. Hell, Colin Sexton, I thought he would have had a better game today with LaMelo Ball being out. But now I think one of the biggest things that we did talk about is health with this team. I said, if this team can stay healthy, this will be a team to watch out for. Brandon Miller and LaMelo Ball are already injured. Already. So yeah, I think that's gonna play a huge part. I mean, your top guys are hurt. You got Colin Knuckle literally is damn near doing everything for that team. Miles Bridges is doing something a little bit as well. But for me, that's the part that I think hurts. Hornets is now you have these injuries. Now, granted, I don't think now that Trae Young is out for a while, I think the Hawks are probably going to be a team that maybe drops off a little bit. My Magic is a little disappointing from a couple games already. So I say that to say that, the Hornets, even though they have their injuries, the East is not loaded like the West is. So if they can get these guys to be healthy, then they may have a chance to kind of make that move into that playing spot possibly. But I just like the fact that they have this young core with this team. But injuries, which happens, we know injuries happen, but these type of injuries they can't have, and they can't be long-term injuries because when they do happen, now we looking at a totally different Hornets team in my mind.
the early returns for the Hornets for me is just like, damn, 7 games in the season and your 2 top players are missing time already. Now, I think one thing, I think they've done well in the offseason. They got some pieces, and we talked about it during the draft, like, okay, you drafted a guy like Conker Nipple, just in case that Brandon Miller goes out. You got somebody there to kind of carry that load in a sense. Now, as a rookie, you don't put too much on them, but you got somebody there on the wing that can shoot the ball, handle and all that stuff. So you got that with him there. So I thought that was a great move for them, drafting him. Like, okay, at least you got somebody there to pick up the slack if he ain't there. And then getting Colin Sexton and trade with the Jazz, a combo guard that can score and that drop off the bill for scoring. That if the ball's not there, you got somebody there who can carry the load for a little bit in that on the side of things. But if Bridges continues to play well, stays out of trouble, I think that can go a long way with this team. And some of the big guys that play well, Pat Connaughton, nice veteran, he come in and do his thing. I think they'll go a long way with the squad as well. So I just think, these guys can just play well, gel well, and kind of stay the course. And like you mentioned about Atlanta and your Orlando Magic, Trae Young's going to be out for at least 6 weeks. Your Orlando Magic really hasn't got the bull by the horns like I hoped. And, the Wizards, they'll be in the bottom anyways. Sweat too much. And then the Heat. They're a contender. I mean, not a contender. They're a playoff contender. But it's just like we discussed earlier with John Morant, can they make a splash and kind of take advantage of everybody's misfortunes right now? Like we discussed in season preview series, like Boston's down. Pacers are down. They finally got their first win. We talk about the Bulls. I mean, they, just lost to the Knicks, but how long do they sustain this play? The Sixers, Embiid, Paul George, that's a lot to depend on. I mean, they got a nice young backcourt with Edgecombe and Maxey, but, Edgecombe's still a rookie. So if you're the Hornets, a team like the Hornets, if you can sustain play and keep those other 2 guys healthy, like you brought up in the season preview series, then they can sneak into the playoffs. But those other 2 guys, they can't miss. We'll be real, they can't miss more than 25 games this year. Each. It's got to be under 25. I know it's 82 games a season. They got to play more than 65 for this team to kind of do something.
Yeah.
I don't know what trading regimens they doing or what they doing to themselves and all that stuff. Especially Brandon Miller, because it seems like he's hurt with something every time you look up. So I don't know what these guys are doing in the offseason and whatnot to better their bodies and stuff like that. But something's got to change.
I think that, obviously, me not being a basketball player, you coaching it before. My thing is, do these guys ever take a break? You know what I mean? They have their regular season, and then they probably are literally, playing during the summer, off when they get when the season is over, off season. They're still playing pickup ball, you know what I mean? Just different things to where they're not taking pure time off. Now, football is different, where football is, you got the season, but then you take your pads off. You probably ain't putting pads on for some months. But basketball, on the other hand, you can walk outside and take up shots all day. You know what I mean? Or you drive down somewhere, there's a basketball court, get a basketball, you're there all the time playing pickup games. So do they get a break? And the reason why I said it is because injuries come from, obviously, you got the gruesome injuries, mistaken injuries, stuff like that. But sometimes a lot of injuries come from not having any rest. You know, it's different things. If your body don't have the rest, little injuries happen. You know what I mean? So we talk about the LeBron situation. You know, now LeBron's been out. How much time did he get when he was fully off? You know what I mean? Now he's obviously up there in age. So now little injuries, even little smaller injuries are, you know, they're coming to him now. But with these younger guys, do they get some time off where they're just literally not picking up a basketball? You know what I mean? Even if they're not necessarily playing in the NBA, like I said, a quarter somewhere, they could be sitting there jacking up hoops all day. And how healthy is that, you know, for every basketball player? Like the phrase says, you go into the season injured, you're gonna limp out. You're gonna limp out that way. So being 100% is the biggest thing. But if you're already coming in here, you know, we 5 games in and we have these little injuries, where are you gonna get that time where you do get that recovery? And like you said, you know, missing 25 games plus or in anywhere in that range, that's not good. That's not going to help anything. So that's my only thought process behind it is, when do they get that recovery time for their body? Sometimes your body just needs to be like, look, okay, I'm done for a minute. Let me just stick. As much as we love our sports that we get involved in, sometimes it's best to just step away for a little bit so you can come back better and ready, 100% healthy. But if you don't get that, then little things happen. Going in the gym, you know, whatever it is, we see it multiple times. People get hurt. So I think injuries, obviously, we know, are part of the game, but I think recovery is as well, and that's definitely needed, and that plays a huge part in injuries.
Yeah, and you know, being a big Alabama guy, you know, I want Brandon Miller to succeed. I want him to be the best they can be. But damn, man, it's like, do we have to like to write you off here and whatnot? And I don't say call you like a bust, but damn, dog, you're not really helping. But I think one thing about it, you know, the Hornets are not giving up because they picked up his option, you know, for the next couple years. So there's still hope there. My thing is, this is like, you know, how and that next year, like looking like the extension stuff of that, like, do you pay him or not? If he's still not still unavailable on the court, that's the main thing right there.
Mm-hmm.
Real quick before we get out of here, D-Lock, Luka's back in the line for the Lakers. They play the Miami Heat tonight. This is not a non-NBA Cup games, of course, but look at this matchup. Luka's been on a scoring tear, 40-plus points in each of his starts. Austin Reeves, since Luka been out, playing out of his mind as well. Let me ask you 2 things here. One, do you think the Lakers found a perfect mate with Luka, with Austin Reeves? And secondly, do Luka score 40-plus again tonight against the Heat?
So I'll say this. That man, Austin Reeves, has been on the tear, man. Like, you know, he's been doing everything. And I think for me, my biggest thing is if you get Austin Reeves going, like when Luka was out, he was doing a lot for them. I think him and Luka are a very good pair right now. You know what I mean? I think that now what you need is DeAndre Ayton needs to do what he got signed there to do. You know what I mean? He needs to be very consistent there. And I think I see it sometimes where he's not playing up to par where he should be. Now, does that change when LeBron come back? We'll see. You know what I mean? But Marcus Smart has kind of been, you know, he's been hurt. And, you know, now I think he's more so of that defender for them. You know what I mean? That he's bringing that defensive impact for them. So I think that that pair, Luke and Austin Reeves, is a hell of a pair, especially for the Lakers to see moving forward. My question is, moving forward, do they add somebody else when LeBron retires? Do they go after somebody else like a Giannis or somebody to put another piece around those two? We see them do shit like this all the time, right? Boston does it. Boston has done it. Miami has done it. The Lakers have done it in the past. Was watching the Boston and Lakers the rivalry documentary, and actually hearing about Kareem getting there. You know what I mean? So them adding pieces over time. So we see what the Lakers have done. So do they add somebody with Luka and Austin Reeves? Now, does he drop 40 again tonight? I'm gonna say yes.
Okay.
I think Austin Reeves has been hot enough now to where this is Luka's turn. Now Andrew Wiggins is there. You know, he can play that defense, but Luka's a unicorn, man. I mean, I think we know he can shoot from damn near anywhere. I mean, ain't nobody really, like I said, you can put Wiggins on him, but I don't see he's not going to contain Luka. I mean, Luka starts to catch fires on him popping. So I say, I give him 47.
47 tonight?
47.
Ooh.
Now the problem is how close is this game going to be?
That's a good question.
That's if this game is close, then if this is a tight game, yes, I think he goes 40 plus, big time. If it's a blowout, I say he's gonna be close. But I've said this. I think I said it a while back when we had a show. I said, for those that do FanDuel or those that do any kind of fantasy league stuff, have Luka in your lineups until LeBron comes back. Always have Luka.
Oh, I got in my lineup tonight.
Yeah, because he is a cooker right now.
12,000.
Yes. Oh, wow. He 12? Yeah, see. Now, that's a lot of money for him, but he's going to get you. You know what I'm saying? He's going to do what he's going to do. And my thing is, once this guy learns just a little bit of defense, he learns to play defense just a little bit, this man's going to be dropping. I know, as I remember, FanDuel they got the points, rebounds, and assists combination. He's going to get steals and all that stuff. That dude's going to be averaging like 50, 60, 70 a night. And that's kind of what Victor's been doing, because Victor gets the blocks, the steal. I think he had one game where he had 9 blocks. So, yeah, this is going to be one of those 40 plus games for Luka. I say 47.
Woo! Marcus Los Great in the chat. He's saying, does Luka have to drop 40 for the Lakers to win?
No.
So I think he's asking, each game, because the Lakers defense is still putrid. And that's why, kind of go back to John Morant for a second. That was kind of made me disappointed by his play against the Lakers on Halloween night. Like, damn, dude, the Lakers defense ain't really all that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, damn, dog. Austin Reeves guarding you, Luka guarding you. I mean, I know Marcus Smart is there, but I mean, still, you can still eat on the Lakers defense. That's my point. But back to Marcus's point, does Luka have to drop 40 each night for the Lakers to win? Yeah, it sure seemed like it. And then he said Ayton's soft. So he's still on that train, but Ayton got a tough matchup tonight against Bam Adebayo.
Yes.
So Bam Adebayo, the rare kid down low who's really coming along nicely for the Heat. So Ayton got a lot of work to do down low to kind of prove his worth. And I think this is a game that he's got to show that I can contribute something with this team. Because you can't let Bam Adebayo, just punk you around all night and stuff like that. You got size on him. You got to use that to your advantage. But I think Let me get the thing queued up. But I think if he can weather the storm down low, at least get 15, 16, and 10 down low against the Heat, and Reeves and Luka can score at least 20 plus each, that'll go a long way for the Lakers. But also for the Lakers, Jake LaRavia, I think he's coming real nicely. If he can contribute well off the bench, I think it's going a long way for them. And for the Heat side of things, Bam Adebayo got to take advantage of that defense down low.
Mm-hmm.
I think if he can do that, where it can come in and get nice minutes, stuff like that, I think that can go a long way for the Heat to win that game. But Luka's been on a tear, and I think he's showing that right now with his new physique and all that stuff, that he's, going to make the Dallas Mavericks regret doing that trade for forever and ever and ever in their eyes. But this has been our show tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Got a lot in here tonight. Thank you for tuning up with us tonight as well. Probably come next week, we probably will have one undefeated team left in the league, which would be the OKC Thunder. But we'll see how the week goes with that as well. But D-Lock, how can people find you on social media?
You guys can find me at Black-813. Seeing that Luka had already popped a 3, so he's on his way to 47. But again, like I said, the game is 4-12 already. They done jumped out on Miami, so we'll see how that goes. Let them know they can find you in the show's page.
You can find me at Spawn4288. That's Spawn4288 on X/Twitter. I was bitching and moaning about my Titans today, so it is what it is on there. I can't wait till Alabama basketball season starts. But anyways, do follow the show's page at Fast Break at RESR. That's Fast Break at IESR. For all you ladies on our opinions on basketball, whether it's pros or the collegiate level and even high school as well. Also, do follow iSports Radio on all your social media feeds: X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. If you see on YouTube, or catch the playback, subscribe to iSports Radio. Click the subscribe button, hit the bell icon, so anytime we come up live, you'll see us there. You'll get that notification. Do hit that little bell to get that notification. But until then, ladies and gentlemen, next week we'll discuss more about the NBA Cup. We'll discuss more about maybe John Morant news and stuff like that. NCAA is coming around, so basketball back in full swing. We'll talk to y'all later. Peace.